All right, now in the last video, the primary point that I wanted to get across was that a training program is nothing more than an illustration of certain principles in play. This is why I try to teach the underlying principles that a training program is built upon. Because if you understand the underlying principles, you can make the changes to any program that you're doing to ensure that you get a maximal return on your investment of time and effort. Now, because principles are like puzzle pieces that can be used interchangeably, it can be very difficult to figure out where each piece should go. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to present you a strategy designed to improve squat performance, front squat or back squat, you pick, whatever the fuck you want, that adheres to many of the same principles that I constantly talk about. Because if I keep showing you what different strategies could look like that adhere to the same principles, you might be able to understand on your own where each piece should go for your puzzle. Now, the principles that this strategy is built upon, just to review, are frequency plus intensity minus volume limits glycogen depletion and limits the cortisol response. This is very important if you're not on steroids, because those two things can be very anti-anabolic and catabolic. Another principle would be stress and repetition develops the skill that is doing anything that you want to get better at. Another one, overload to desensitize protective mechanisms that prevent you from realizing your potential. And the last one, acclimate to increase strength potential, which is one of the keys to long-term progress. So this strategy consists of 3 training days in which you're training the squat. When you choose to do these days and what else you choose to include into your strategy is entirely up to you. But what you're going to see here only relates to the squat or the front squat, whatever one you've chosen. Now on day 1, what you're going to do is you're going to squat through a full range of motion. You're going to do 8 sets of 2 with roughly 75% of what you can lift for 1. This isn't going to be very difficult, but there's a purpose here. The next time you do this workout, you're going to do 8 sets of 3 with the same amount of weight. Then you're going to up the weight, and the next time you do this workout, back down to 8 sets of 2. You're going to follow that progression until you perform 8 sets of 3 with roughly 90% of what you can currently lift for 1. So what you can currently lift for 1 set of 3, the goal is to get to the point where you're performing 8 sets of 3. Now the second day on this strategy, the purpose is to overload. So what you're going to do, you're going to perform the squat or the front squat in a power rack. You're going to have the pin set so that you can only descend maybe about a quarter of the range of motion. You're going to do 3 sets of as many reps as you can with a weight that represents what your next realistic goal weight is. So maybe 10 to 15% more than you can currently lift through a full range of motion. The purpose here is to get used to handling the weight that you want to be able to squat through a full range of motion through a greater and greater range of motion until you can handle it through a full range of motion. So for 4 consecutive workouts, the pins are going to be set at the exact same height. After 4 workouts, lower the pins by 1 notch and continue doing the exact same thing. 3 sets of as many reps as you can. Then after those 4 workouts, lower it 1 more time, and you're doing 3 sets of as many reps as you can with the same amount of weight. The third day on this strategy, the purpose is to get used to handling heavy weights in the weakest position. So you're doing pause squats, holding the bottom position for maybe 4 to 5 seconds. The first time you perform this workout, you're aiming for 6 sets of 1 with roughly 85% of what you can currently lift for 1. Then you do that again the next workout. Then you add a repetition the third workout, so 6 sets of 2. You repeat that for 2 workouts, then you go up to 6 sets of 3. Then after that, you go up in weight and you bring the reps back down to 6 sets of 1, and you follow the same progression. So that's an example of a strategy designed to improve front squat or back squat performance that adheres to many of the same principles that I constantly talk about. If you understand the underlying principles that this strategy is built upon, you can maybe build your own strategy. Now, whether you like this information or not, whether you share this information or not, whether you click the fucking button at the bottom of the screen that you're looking at, subscribe to the channel, and support me or not, nothing is going to stop me from continuing to provide the absolute best information that you're ever going to fucking find as it relates to training to build muscle, to get stronger, to lose fat, to look better, to perform better, all that fucking shit. Nothing is going to stop me.